Sure.
You're supposed to know you have 7 kids.
Put their names on, I mean, I put Hunter Davis, Ariana Davis, and Gabby Davis.
No, very nice.
The new personnel and food services, I haven't grasped who belongs to who.
Okay, I was gonna say, past has never been a problem, that's the way I've done it, so I just put their names on it, get a memo, and their lunch number, and write one check.
Right, Tom, go ahead and start.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Welcome with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. First item on the agenda for tonight is our annual election of officers. So we'll open up with nominations for chair.
Nominate Tom Schreiner.
Second. Motion by Heather for Tom Schreiner and a second by Brian. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Last call, is there any other nominations? Okay, with that said, a unanimous vote for Tom for chair. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Next position on the docket is the office of vice chair. Do we have nominations for vice chair? I would second that motion. Any additional nominations for vice chair? Any additional nominations for vice chair? Last call for any additional nominations for vice chair. With that said, that's a unanimous submission for vice chair for vote for Tim Zipway. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, I'll work hard to make you proud.
Next office is for clerk. Do I have a nomination for clerk? I'll nominate Mr. Becker.
Second.
It's a motion for Mr. Becker. Are there any additional nominations? Any additional nominations for clerk? One last call for any additional nominations. Okay, that's a unanimous, roll call for clerk for Brian Becker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Last office position on our agenda tonight is selection of a treasurer. Do I have a nomination for treasurer?
Nominate Heather Hooper.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, do I have any additional nominations for treasurer? Last call for additional nominations for treasurer. Okay, that's a unanimous for Heather as a nomination. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Congrats to the officers.
Real quick for the officers, February 11th, at the Best Western Kelly Inn in St. Cloud, is officer training through MSDA. I didn't check to see what day of the week that is, I believe it's a Saturday, but I could be wrong. So if you are interested, I can get you signed up for that. Heather and Carla can talk a little bit about some of the stuff they saw at the MSDA conference. Highly recommend going to it just because they'll cover any current stuff, any changes that have occurred over the last year, and that type of thing as far as school board issues and statutes, so. And it starts at 8:30 AM.
8:30 to 3.
8:30 to 3 PM, yeah. could get by with showing up at 8:30's registration and coffee,
That's just an officer's training day.
officers training, yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Okay, item 3 on our agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda as presented or amended. Under section 8 for business, addition for adding item 8.7, approval of secondary registration course guide for the 2017-18 school year. Bullet 8.8 is accept $1,000 donation received from Red Whip towards the scholarship fund. 8.9 is acceptance of $50 donation received from Mom's Place towards the scholarship fund. And item 8.10 is acceptance of a $50 donation received from John and Chris Fenley towards the scholarship fund. Under personnel, we're adding items 9.1 for approval of termination of Kevin Zhang, part-time high school custodian, effective immediately. And 9.2, approve hiring of Brian Keekley, part-time high school custodian. And I assume that's effective immediately as well. Any other additions or corrections to the agenda as presented?
Mr. Chair, I would add a pie meeting report that I recently attended, if you have an opportunity somewhere along the line.
So let's add that as item 7.6 under reports.
Do you wanna know about the AI meeting that was just had?
You can add it.
Fresh.
Okay, item 7.7, the AI meeting update. Any other additions? If none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Second.
Motion by Brian and a second by Sean. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Community participation, this is just, I guess, a new, verbal statement that we'll be conveying for a while. Please be aware that Kimball School Board meetings are videotaped and loaded to the school webpage for communities viewing at their convenience. Discussion on parameters may be requested. And it doesn't look like we have anybody from the community tonight, so no student reports.
So I talked to, one of our student government reps, it was just a tough late.
Okay,
And we gave them some training yesterday, they were doing the best they could do, but it didn't work out, so
that's all right. They've been doing a good job coming and providing feedback, so.
we appreciate it.
Item 4.2 is discussion regarding filming and broadcast of board meetings.
I might have brought that up last time around. And just would wanna fly over briefly any sort of protocol or expectations or code of conduct. Bottom line, our chance to always put our best foot forward and, be mindful of what we say and, how we conduct our affairs, I guess. I don't know, but I just wanna make sure we all knew the camera was on. It's a good thing.
Any other board members have any comments related to the board meetings being filmed and posted to, the school site at this time?
It doesn't prohibit free and open discussion, in my opinion. It was brought to my attention, that's why that's kind of why I raised it up, because there was a concern shared with me, well, won't it be difficult to talk freely and openly? And I helped that person understand, no, it wouldn't be, so.
We're a public entity, our information is shared, we allow the public to participate, in the open section of the meeting. Once business starts, it's business, it's board business, but that doesn't refrain from dialogue among members and participation, so it's part of the times and where we're at, so we need to speak our piece and be respectful with it, but it is business as usual.
I'm always looking for more ways to communicate anyway, and it's just another tool that we have to use.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 5, celebration and successes of students and staff.
Spelling bee was today, was it not?
It was Miss Beeler, our sixth grader as our spelling bee champ.
Alright.
Good job.
So it was maybe one of the best we've had in quite a while. It went almost an hour and 45 minutes. So they were on point.
What was the winning word?
Appreciate, no, allegiance was the winning word. The toughest word was thama. What was it? I couldn't hardly pronounce it myself. So after the phonetic spelling of it, figured it out. But allegiance was the winning word. So should we move on?
What's your new spell?
Allegiance, ALLEGINC. So fun way to spend the morning.
You think we have a basketball star that scored their 1,000th point? Basketball,
Yeah.
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 Thank Mr. Wagner for, Joan and I were speaking earlier about different things on how we've grown in the last 4 years since you've been here, 3 years since you've been here. I think we're up 86 students from where we were. So the enrollment continues to grow, and I think that's a big part.
Any other items? Okay, on item 6, approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Heather. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Reports. Ms. Johnson.
Yeah, so we are back in the swing of things, we're finally kind of settling into our routines, the kids seem to be kind of back where we left off. Again, we were hoping, the prior meeting I was telling you, we had a lot of sick kiddos going home, we still do. So the break didn't help, so constantly we had 8 kids today that we had to send home, not counting the ones that are staying home. High fevers and staff, so something to watch. Winter testing benchmarks have begun, so STAR testing, AIMS web testing to kind of gauge where our students are in the winter. It's required of all the teachers to do with elementary, so they can guide their instruction by the data that they receive from their kiddos. And we like to wait until the second, third week of school just so they settle in, so we're not testing them right from till they, right back from break. We're not gonna get some accurate results. So they are completing those this week and then early next week, so they can adjust their instruction. Had a tour today with a family of 4. I believe one's a 6th grader that you've already had tour of the high school. And a set of twins and a 3rd grade and a 5th grader next year. So they'll be coming here next year, very excited. 3 new open enrolled kindergartners from the St. Cloud Area School District. Have filled out forms and are attending Kimball schools. Another family coming from St. Cloud that is looking to purchase a home here. So it's starting to pick up a little bit, the chatter, so it's kind of exciting to hear. Kindergarten roundup is set, and preschool, we're doing it together, we have the last 3 years. So preschool roundup and kindergarten roundup registration is February 9th, so Thursday night from 6 to 7:30. So we've sent letters out, it's on our website, it's in, Lisa was getting into Tri-County, into the Annandale, circular, and that's pretty much what I have right now, so. We're finally going outside for recess, so we're excited about that, the kids are getting outside and getting fresh air too, the nicer temperatures.
Good day to start for that. Probably sloppy coming back in.
We're okay with sloppy. They're getting fresh air. Yeah, so.
I'll ask the maintenance staff later how.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, any questions from Ms. Johnson? Okay, thank you. Mr. Lidby?
All right, we're back at it as well. I would second Carrie's illness report. It seems like strep and the stomach flu have surfaced. Actually sent home Byron today because he was kind of the same color as the table, so not looking real good. So we're dealing with that, and we're hoping We have Snow Week coming up next week. So we've got our dress-up days that'll be announced here at the end of the week. Our activity day is going to be Friday. It's going to be similar to what we did last year in that we're not going to interrupt classes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to take Friday and run the entire day that day with different activities for our candidates as well as our entire student body. So if you're in the area, you want to come up and take a look and see what Snow Week looks Kimball style, come on up. Usually it's a really fun week and the kids really enjoy a good time, especially that Friday. It's kind of nice to have a down day following my next topic, which is we have finals starting tomorrow, and finals on Friday. So Snow Week is coming at a very opportune time to kind of let their hair down a little bit and relax a little bit after finishing up first semester.
What's the date on that?
For Snow Week?
Yeah.
January 24th to the 28th. And it's the 28th because Saturday night is our Snow Days dance. It's from 8 to 11. If you have nothing to do that evening, you want to come up and chaperone, come on up, we'd love to have you. If you like to dance and jump around the house with me, come on up, we'll definitely enjoy that with you as well.
Don't you do a circle dance where you're in the center and student body circle?
I've done that occasionally, once or 10 times. Depends what the song is. They tried to teach me how to Dougie and that didn't work real well. I'll show you sometime. I can't.
Let's say you did not do it.
Yeah. So we're moving along. It's hard to believe that at the midway point of the school year, it just doesn't seem quite possible. But kids are working hard, staff's working hard. Everybody's busy. It's the holiday season's done, but the busyness certainly hasn't gone down any. It's just kind of the way it is. We're talking during the AI meeting, everybody's got stuff to do, and it'll be that way up until the end of the school year. But we'll get there, and I'm excited about the direction that we're heading. I like our attitude that we have up here in terms of student body and staff. It's really positive. Talked to a couple sixth graders the other day to just kind of gauge where they're at as a class. Plan was to go in and kind of survey them informally to see what they're feeling, and talk to two of them, and both of them to a T said, "We love it up here." So what do you love about it? And the first thing out of their mouth was freedom. And I said, well, can you explain that a little bit? Well, we have a little more freedom, a little more autonomy. We're not asked to line up outside of classrooms and led to everything. We actually trust us to get from point A to point B. So that was good to hear. Because that's what we want. We want them to have a good experience and enjoy themselves and get to feel part of what we have to offer up here. Not only, as a student body, but in our activities and other pieces too. So they'll be active participants in our Snow Week next week. We'll invite them to come along and participate with us on Friday as a class in our class activities. So yeah, it was good to hear. It was good to hear that at least that portion of the class that I talked to felt really positive about the experience that they're having up here. So that's as a principal, that's what I want for them, and as a staff, that's what we want for them. And I've got a really good sixth grade team, as most of you probably know. I've got 3 really fantastic teachers that really do a remarkable job with that group of kids. So yeah. So questions from you?
Just some quick observations. I could have saved this for pie stuff, but it's perfect timing. So, in sitting at that pie meeting, I heard the same thing. Some parents, boy, their kids love the freedom, and other parents, other mothers said, "Oh my gosh, my child is exchanging." She was apprehensive about freedom a little bit, yeah, and kind of exchanging pole position at 6th grade for freedom and, bottom totem pole, so you don't get your AR points in your AR store and all those other props that you get as a 6th grader. So we've exchanged that in some way, and it flies for most of the kids, most of the parents, but some of them, I sense a little bit of giving up control, getting out of the cocoon kind of a feeling a little bit, so just report that, and how it is that communication, of course, can build that bridge even better. So my kids going to Snow Days dance, and some of those great opportunities. Oh my gosh!
No, they won't be there.
Carrie, would you add? Am I onto that?
No, you're
Is that about right?
totally-
Did I feel that? Or
Absolutely, and, I tried to answer, but refer them to go right to, and
Yeah.
I did call, like I promised, I'd contact Mr. Whitby the very next morning, and we had a
Yeah.
conversation.
Cool.
In regard regards to it.
You know, the way I can answer that, Tim, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't had one phone call since we started
Yeah.
this, I think, fantastic journey, because I don't know that any of us actually knew. We knew we had in front of us. We knew we had a great product to present. We knew we had great kids coming over to be a part of it. I mean, I don't know that I could have picked a better class
Yeah.
to start this journey with, and they're fun. I mean, I've got this nice little scrape on my cheek today because they were missing a fifth for basketball, so they asked me to jump in, so I did, and can't rebound, so.
Yeah.
But I haven't, and they're so positive. And yeah, they're gonna participate with us in snow days, but to a certain point. I mean, they're still sixth grade. We still have them in their own portion of the building. We still have them on their own schedule. It's not like, you know, we've given them the keys to the car and said, off you go. I mean, there are still supports in place. I mean, the three gals that teach, Patty, Mary, and Kim, are with those kids all the time. I mean, they're coming down during recess time and meeting with them. They're walking with them. They're building relationships. And I think part of the freedom piece is, I really think this group of kids, and again, I've only talked to a handful. I haven't talked to all of them, so I can't tell you exactly what everybody's feeling is, but I think they feel a part of something bigger, but yet they still feel a part of sixth grade. You know, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but yes, they're in a cocoon, but they're able to branch out, and I think a lot of the kids really like that. I think they like that there's somebody looking over their shoulder the entire time. Yet there's still that safety net that all I know I have to do is just reach out and talk to my classroom teacher, and I can get the support that I need. You know, and the plan was, this is a transition year really for that sixth grade group to enter seventh grade next year. And hopefully for those students that have struggled in the past, hopefully it's a smoother transition for those kids, because one, they're you know, familiar with their physical plan. Two, they're familiar with faces in the building now. They've seen these teachers now for almost 6 months. So yeah, and as a parent, I understand in some regards that, you know, they're still sixth graders. They're not high school students, and I think we're still trying to protect that as much as we can from a staffing side of things and a schedule side of things, because we don't have those students pass together. They don't. The times don't match. So when sixth grade's on the move, 7-12's in classrooms, and vice versa.
It was kind of sorry to jump in, but like Tim was saying, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, the particular parent, I think it's more of a parent adjustment is what I'm
Sure.
hearing.
Yeah.
And
Leaving the mothership, the safety of the
Yeah,
elementary
and his-
school.
yeah, and
That
not
was the
even-
cocoon I'm at,
Yeah, and not even, like, they weren't you know, bringing the information, wasn't concerned about them passing or anything about the students, really. It was, they're not gonna get their
Letting go.
AR stuff or pizza, you know, Papa Murphy's. It's letting go of some things that they've enjoyed, I think, and I understand that, I totally get that, but I don't think it's, you know, I haven't heard anything either kid-wise, they love it, and, but I also heard her say, I like that they're kind of off to their own, but I wish they could be more part of, you know, are they part of snow days? They should be, they're part of the school. So it's kind of like they're still transitioning, the parents themselves, is what I kind of got from it, is that right?
I would agree.
So I think it's, and we told them that, I mean, our plan was to do a survey anyway, because it is that transition, what can we do better, what can we, and so she knows that's coming, and so, I don't know, it was good feedback, but I think it's,
Yeah, I agree. And again, if there are any questions at all that any of you have, or getting from the community or sixth grade parents, you know, don't hesitate to have them give me a buzz. I'd be happy to talk to them. I'd be happy to have them stop up and spend a day or part of the day with us too, just to kind of see, you know, what are we doing? What are we offering during the day? What are these kids doing when they're with us? And, yeah, I mean, it was a year ago about this time when we started having this conversation about transitioning sixth grade from the elementary to the secondary building. And I told Jim this many times, if you would have told me that it would have gone as it has gone, I'm not sure I would agree. And not that I'm a negative person, because I'm not. I kind of see the glass as half full, but it has gone way better, I think, from a kid standpoint than I initially thought it might. I thought there might be more apprehension on the kid side of things. I knew the parents were gonna be that way, it's a big deal. You're taking them out of a building they've been in for 5 years and transition them somewhere else, but kids are resilient. They really are, and they have really picked it up and really done a nice job being a part of us. And they are a part of us. They're not just sixth grade, they are a part of Kimball High School.
Thank you for the conversation.
Sure.
Yep, and there might be value in just putting that little summary in a brief statement out to the sixth grade parents, at least for this transition year group of parents, or not, this is the best. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Ridley? Any questions from the board for Mr. Ridley? Okay, thank you. Mr. Wagner?
Great, a few things. Last board meeting, I talked about, having a procedure meeting. I had discussed that we had a bus accident on Highway 15 last time. And so, met with the bus company, met with the administrators, and came up with a procedure, for the bus company and for us to follow, and for what we felt would cover a number of different scenarios of what could possibly happen on the bus accident. So we wanted to make sure that we had something that was complete, that took into account a number of different scenarios or different possibilities, and so we came up with this one-page procedure that will be in both high school and elementary buildings, with helping to get information out to parents as far as what's going on, that type of thing. And so the box on the upper left-hand side is basically what the driver's gonna be going through, and then simultaneously, once a call's been made to us, while the bus driver's going through the protocol and the box on the left, the buildings and individual administrators will be going through the box on the right, getting information out and that type of thing. And then towards the bottom is where it all comes together. We felt that, to give parents an opportunity to make sure that their child is safe, once we got kids transported here to school, before they start the school day or whenever they get here, we want them to each call their parents from the high school or from the elementary building from the office, so that way if the parent feels that they wanna come in and just make sure that the child's okay, even though the child is saying they're okay, because we don't know the children as well as obviously the parents do. And so there might be some kids that have an underlying condition that we're not aware of. We wanna give parents that opportunity to be able to determine, if there's something wrong, or if they do still wanna take them into a doctor just to make sure that everything's okay. The one thing that the bus company had indicated is that in most cases with bus accidents, the bus, because of the structure, is pretty safe in the sense where they're not gonna feel a lot. I mean, obviously, like in this particular case of the accident, the car was virtually total, but the bus, cause it was stopped at the time, half the kids on the bus, and including the bus driver, did not feel the hit. They saw it, but because of the size of the bus and the size of the vehicle hitting it, they didn't really feel anything on the bus. And so it was one of those things where, in most cases, that's how typical most bus accidents are. It's not a high percentage, it's less than 2% of kids get hurt on a bus when there's a bus accident. And so it's one of those things where we wanted to make sure our procedure was simplistic, but at the same time, covered all those avenues, so that we made sure that regardless of what level of the accident or the severity of the accident, we could at least get that information out as fast as we possibly can and be more thorough on it. Because I have to admit, when I got the information from the bus company, I didn't ask which route it was. And I didn't ask because the bus driver said that none of the kids on the bus were hurt. And so from that perspective, I didn't dig deeper into it, but then thinking about, well, for some parents, for me not knowing which kids and what they're going through, it's important that the parents have the opportunity to talk with their kids. And then for us, by having them come to the office, we at least know that all the kids will have made the phone calls, and or if they don't remember the parents' home phone numbers, we at least have that information in the office so they can make those phone calls and at least get that information out firsthand, that type of thing. So, any questions on that?
Spelling error on the box on the left, number 3, correct?
Yes, it is.
Which one?
Bus garage.
Oh, okay.
Garage has an extra G in it.
I'm so that's good.
You didn't type it in there.
And I didn't type it
I
either.
didn't either. So, you know.
Not looking to point fingers.
I know. Any other things?
How do they know which route to follow?
What's that?
The bus company follows.
Bus company will be in the box 1, or the bus driver is that first box. And then the second box on the right, then those are the things that are going on while box on the left is,
I was thinking one was, it's a severe accident, and one was like the other situation, or the other situation not particularly needed to call 911. So I was thinking, if I'm the bus driver and I'm looking at this, how do I know, there's 3 different maps I can follow here? Do I call 911 first on the left, or do I call the superintendent, the box on the right?
they never call me, that's what this is for, the bus driver follows box on the left,
Bus driver's on the left, so what's the box on the right?
for me.
Once you
Your
hit,
box.
once you hit back, the bus driver calls 911, and then they call the bus garage, and then the bus garage calls the superintendent, and that's when this box starts.
So they're happening basically same time.
And they're happening at the same time.
I don't want the bus driver worried about calling me, there's only 2 calls the bus driver needs to make, 911 and to the bus garage, that's it. And then the rest of the stuff we take care of on our end, getting both buildings prepared, getting staff informed, getting the JMC information out to parents with what little we, depending on what information we have to get out to them, but then at the same time, once then the kids that can be transported on the bus, we get them to the offices so that way they can call their parents firsthand right from the office once they get to the building, so. I want the bus driver to be concerned with little as possible about the external communication and them focused more on what's happening at the bus at the time. Cause once the state patrol is there and EMTs are there, that's their focus, they have to be focused on that, not worrying about, trying to find my number or I need the building administrator's number and that type of thing, so. It took us about an hour and a half to really kind of go over all the scenarios, and we wanted something that could cover at least 99% of the potential or possibility without having it to be page by page and that type of thing. We wanted to be pretty simplistic, so.
Can I change one, or require,
Yep.
the second to the bottom, where you have the students call or required to call their parents?
Yep.
Can we change it to the administrator will call? I don't want my element like a first grader getting on and go, guess what? And then I'd be like, give me the phone,
Right.
you know, and we
Yeah,
have to explain,
yeah.
I mean, they're gonna be like, you don't know what their
Right.
story's gonna be exaggerating, or they're gonna be so upset, you just don't know what they're saying. I'd like to have like a blanket statement,
Mhm.
let them know, they're able to come in, if they have questions, they can.
Right.
And if they wanna talk to their student, I'd be more than happy, give them the phone,
Yep.
but the administrator would call
Yeah,
parents.
that's fine.
Is
Is that right? What's that?
Is JMC going out, I should read through it closer before I ask a question, but is the JMC alert going out before and then the student's gonna call, or student calling first, JMC is going out after?
The GMC will probably go out before the student calls, because the idea is,
I already have an idea.
so yeah, we have an idea of what's happened, that type of thing, and then once we get the students to the school, then we make those contacts, cause obviously if someone is injured and EMTs are there, they'll determine if they should go to the hospital or not, and if they determine that, whoever's not injured can go back to school or go to school, we'll get them here and they get the parents here so they can do their own evaluation of the situation of the child, depending on obviously what any underlying condition there is, they can determine what they wanna do from there.
So does that work if the bus is headed home as well, that you'll pull them, bring them back to school?
Yep. It'd be before and or after school. And it's easier just to get them all back here from that perspective, so that way, this kind of becomes your command center type of thing.
Do we have something similar for our school vans when we take students somewhere with our own vehicles and our own staff drivers? What happens if they're in some kind of trouble?
With our school vans, they're usually contacting us directly.
Yeah,
So-
so no bus company stuff, but we have some kind of a protocol there,
Yeah, and I haven't really dug into that, I didn't realize we didn't have a protocol for our
I
buses,
understand,
so
yeah.
that'll be the next step.
So this will go in our handbook going forward and be up for
This isn't a policy, it's just a procedure.
just a procedure?
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't think we needed a policy for it, other than just, we wanted to have some procedure or protocol for follow, so that way, let's say I'm not available, well then who can, in the office, who can they contact between the administrators and that type of thing, so. We wanted to have a number of different options in case that parameter comes up, cause typically, like in the case of when it happened, the bus garage called me, and then I sent out the GMC message, so, I was available at the time, but it's just a matter in case I'm not, or if anybody else is not, there's a number of options who to contact, cause we know between any one of those, the bus garage should be able to get a hold of somebody. So that way we can get that information out to the families. the JMC messages, obviously, then we'd have the bus route number on there, letting parents know if the kids will be brought to the school, if they need to see their kids or would like to see their kids, to see what, you know, how they are, their condition and that type of thing, and that way we can do it all within the email and so that way parents know which specific route it was and that type of thing, so. Like I said before, I just assumed we had something, I didn't realize we didn't, so I felt it was important to get something in place. Alright. The next thing, the new, calendar proposals, later on in the agenda, you'll be talking about the school calendars. We have two proposed calendars, one is a pre-Labor Day start, one is a post-Labor Day start. The reason for the two calendars is, based on a number of things, is one, when we started our pre-Labor Day start, because of the construction things, we had a tremendous amount of success academically with our staff and with our students, and so this year we started after Labor Day. So it's pretty recent, so we felt it was important to give parents an opportunity and families to determine if they liked it or didn't like it, so that way it makes it easier to determine how we wanna move forward with the calendar. Do we consider XYZ factors? So we sent out a survey to families, we have a little over 380 families, 330 families responded back, with the feedback, over 50%, preferred to have a pre-Labor Day start. It was 54% pre-Labor Day, 32% was post-Labor Day, and then 14% didn't care if you started before or after Labor Day. And so with that information, then the meet and confer crew, Todd, I don't know, if you wanna talk about what they discussed at the meet and confer.
Mostly it was just looking at the different calendars and how the dates had to fall, and, the whole high school versus elementary days thing, and when are you gonna have conferences, when are we gonna have conferences, and how to make all the days work out for time is really what we talked.
Yeah, and the committee made the decision based on the survey results, to come up with the calendar, so they went with calendar option number one. The reason that's an option is because we have to get state approval to start prior to a Labor Day start, and so, depending on, you know, and we had to follow protocol, we have to have something in the minutes that, the school board approved the calendar to have a pre-Labor Day start, so we can send it into MDE for them to determine if they're gonna approve that or not approve that, and then if they don't approve it, then we have the version B calendar with the post-Labor Day start as a fall in case the MDE doesn't approve it. And we're at the mercy of MDE, cause the last time I sent it in January because of all the construction stuff we had, and we didn't hear from them until mid to end of March before they approved our calendar. So, just be aware of that, but, the committee made the decision, based on those results and those discussions, that type of thing.
Seems to be a growing trend anyway statewide, does it not, to start early?
It is, there's a number of different calendars out there right now. The only thing the state will for sure not approve is any school district that wants to go to a 4-day week. That's a statute that they won't approve anymore. They're grandfathered in the school districts that currently are. But right now, there's a number of districts that have flexible learning schedules. They call it a 45-15 calendar, where you have 45 days of instruction, 15 days off, 45 days in a row. That's a stretched out calendar. It has the same number of instructional days, it's just that it stretches the school year out throughout the course of the year. The idea behind that is that there's less learning loss during that break time. Instead of having 3 months off, they only have 15 days off, so in that way, information is still fresh in kids' heads. You know, for us, the way our schedule has been historically within this district is obviously a very rural community. A number of kids are still on the farm, helping with the parents on the farming and that type of thing, and so by getting them out prior to Memorial Day, allows them to help finishing up the crop season as far as planting, that type of thing. Southwest Minnesota has about 25 districts that have a pre-Labor Day start, that actually start, the second week of August. Southern Minnesota, there's a number of school districts down there, between Albert Lee, Austin, and Rochester that have the 45-15 calendar for some of their buildings and that type of thing, and so it's becoming more, you know, if you've got good rationale for it, MDE is putting more of the decision-making on, local control versus their control. And another thing we gotta look at is it's hard to argue our results. I mean, we're looking at, by starting pre-Labor Day, even those 4 days, we're still getting the jump on more instructional days prior to the MCA testing. You know, and that's an important thing, and I look at this year with the number of absenteeism we've had, this year would've been a great year to have a pre-Labor Day start to, again, get as many days in as we possibly can, because it's you know, it's concerning with the number of sicknesses, or the amount of sickness that's out there, that, it's gonna be tough for us to continue that trend of, you know, continually going up with our academic scores. And, you know, despite the sickness, we still expect it, but it's just gonna make it more difficult type thing. So that's kind of the background on the calendar, the proposal, so you have an idea of why there's two calendars coming forward to you and that type of thing, so. Okay? Later on the budget, or on the agenda, it also talks about, reductions and cuts. This is kind of a formality that just gives us the protection in case we have something that happens with our budget and whatnot. It gives us the latitude, if we have to do make cuts, we can. Since I've been here, we haven't made cuts other than with staff that aren't meeting, expectations. And so it wasn't really a cut, it's more, being better at being efficient with what we have. You know, the 3 years I've been here, we continually have been adding staff, so, this hasn't been an issue, but we always wanna have that approved, so if we do need to make cuts, we still have that flexibility to do it if need be.
So there's nothing planned or no reason to believe there's going to be?
No. No. It's just a protection for us as a district, that in case something does come up, we do, but as of right now, I've not discussed any cuts with any of the groups or any areas.
We've done that every year since I've been here.
Okay. MSBA January conference, Carla and, Heather had the opportunity to come down there, and I'll kind of defer to them if they wanna talk a little bit about what you saw, what you learned, the experience, that type of thing.
Sure, I'll start. Sure. So it was Thursday, Friday that we were down there, and they had two lead speakers that came in, one at the beginning and one at the end. The first one was, an author that came in and spoke, and he pretty much just, his main point, I think, in the conversation was not to forget the underprivileged, kids. He came from an environment where he lived in a foster home and group homes, and, all throughout school, he finally got a connection with somebody who helped him educationally and got to be where he was. And so his whole mission was, you know, don't forget the underprivileged kids, make sure there's still kids out there that wanna learn and grow, and failure's not an option. Failure is not an option, was kind of his biggest thing of the day. And then from there, we kind of broke out and, different presentations talking about different things. So the ones I attended, different schools basically just come out and say, here's what we've tried and here's why we think it was successful. Glencoe Silver Lake is implementing the Project Lead the Way. So we're doing some of that, but they really took two of their teachers, sent them through the education on how to do this program, and that was their main job. They worked with the staff in doing that all day long in their schools. So two of these staff would go into the third grade, and today we're, for, you know, a week in a row, today we're gonna work in the third grade class on doing all these Project Lead the Way classes, and then they would move to the fourth grade class, and they would spend the week and do those with their school. And it was all biomedical, comp science, engineering, different programs, and they just found how engaged, because it's all hands-on stuff, and everybody can learn better doing things hands-on rather than just being spoke to all day. And they just found it was super, super successful, and the kids just loved it. They started it actually at the high school first and went backwards and started the elementary school later, but now they've got it integrated between the elementary school and the high school, both, and the kids are really just loving it. Farmington did some evaluation and found a way to give all of the kids iPads, and all of the elementary kids, they let them work on their own. So everybody learns at different speeds and rates, and so you take a student and it's kind of the, here's your program for math, and the kids can work at a fourth grade level, fifth grade level, however they advance, and then the teachers intersect by, when they get stuck at their level, say I'm at fifth grade math, here's the concepts I need help working with, and therefore I'm gonna sit and work with that kid at fifth grade level, even though he might only be a third grader. And if somebody's a third grader, might only still be in second grade, he's at that second grade level, and the teacher intersects is helping them with their second grade to get them to progress on to third grade. And so they said even our environment, it's not your class with your desk, they get to be interactive around the school and get some free time, kind of like you were talking about with the sixth grade. They get more freedom to be able to do as they want and learn at their own progression of rates. So you're not holding somebody back, waiting for everybody else to catch up, learning the third grade skills. And they just found that was successful, and there's obviously challenges to it, but you're helping out the kids who
times for the high schools, which ours is a little bit later already, but just showing the trends of how that has been successful in high schools and kids learn better after they're up, at later times. The other one that I also attended was, marketing, and this one I was really intrigued with, marketing your school. Not, really being in touch with your community and all of your community, because you have taxpayer base all around us, not just the people who go to your schools, your parents. And Centennial did this, and they send this out quarterly. So this was their quarterly newspaper that they send out about all the positive things that happen in their school. Staff, retirement, new staff, and they, I did write it down, but they said it's really cheap to send this, and people love it, and it has increased their enrollment by a lot. Just having that communication piece going on, people seeing it. So I thought that was really a neat piece, and then this is some more of their communication piece, but they really just work on marketing their school. They have stickers that have their logo on them. Every family in their community has a sticker on their vehicle. Everybody gets one, so when you're out around, people see, oh, there's a Kimball sticker. And I kind of compared it to AM Mouse, you know, where don't you go that you see a little AM Mouse badge, and you're like, oh, you know, they bought that in Kimball. But then really working with your businesses to say, hey, do you mind putting the sticker on your door to show that you support our schools, so that you get that whole connection with your businesses. And so that was a really good one. And I'm trying, and then the last one that I ended up going to was hiring a media center. We had a media specialist, and how they can really engage our kids in internet and using it for the right purposes, and that it's really important that that media specialist has that background, technology background, to make sure that the kids have access to that all the time, to use that in the right frame of mind, not just YouTube, but searching out the right things. So, but it was very good. We learned a lot. There was more there than what we could even take in. It was kind of overwhelming. We all kind of sat there like, okay, what should we do? And there was things that we all wanted, you know, like there was more there than what we could take in. That I think it was just interesting to see other communities are successful with something. One of the ones I really thought was cool was farm to table. And I know we've kind of, in this community, that's a big thing. But just that it's over in Dassel, Cokato, and they have it in Howard Lake, and the kids actually take farmland that's been donated, farm their fields, have teachers, staff, whatever, sign up for their products, and the kids make money and sell it. And it was, those kids were just so excited to show and explain how they've made money, and their program is blossom. So that was the neat part, to see all the kids. They had a robotic team there that was there. The kids were there explaining how they put it all together. So it's very hands-on.
Yeah, definitely. On the last speaker they had, there was Alan Page. Who, you know, obviously most people know Alan Page is a former Supreme Justice, and for us meatheads that like sports, he's a former pro football player for the Vikings. And you know, he had some interesting things he talked about. And I think that some of the things that really stuck out to me is he talked about the situation of when he came to the Vikings, they had to learn the defensive playbook, you know. And so he talked about you know, we had him talk about you know, you had to know what the word block, offensive, defensive schemes were. And he said those were the most difficult words that they had to learn, you know. And then he made the comment that of the 9 guys in there, 5 of the 9 struggled with those words. You know, he said at what point did they get lost, because they were college grads and they had trouble reading some very simplistic words. And you know, obviously they would have learned those words not necessarily in high school and in college, but early on in elementary. Somewhere along the line they got lost, but yet they figured out a way to get through and get a college degree and move on. And, you know, he used the phrase that when all is said and done, you need to make sure that just as much is done is said. And it's one of the things that, you know, when I got here and when I worked with Carrie and Eric, is that we continually talk about things we want to do, but we also do the things we talk about, you know. And it's important that, you know, I don't talk about a whole lot of different things, but when we do talk about it, when we talk, I'm sure we're having some action and getting things done, and the district is, you know, as a whole, you know, we're making some significant progress, and it's action along with the words that we use and that type of thing, so. I felt it was a really good conference and,
He had, to end it, he, talked about his, what I've learned in all of his, piece, and I wrote them down because they were really good. He learned that preparation is critical to success. Sometimes we create our own we are our own greatest obstacles. Fear causes us to stumble, but good preparation causes us to overcome. And two things that his parents taught him: no matter what you do in life, do it as well as you can, and be a good citizen. Was the last one. You could tell he is, obviously, from all the stuff that he's done. So it was good. It was a good speaker. Very good.
definitely, so definitely would encourage as many of us to get down there for next year's conference as well, cause it's, I definitely feel it's worthwhile. A lot, as Carlin and Heather saw, a lot of districts, a lot of the boards down there, a lot of strategic planning is done down there, that type of thing, so, if we can work it in our schedule, get more down there, that'd be great, that type of thing, so. Okay. Now that we are going to be moving on to, on the agenda also, and picking committees, there is a negotiations conference in St. Cloud offered by MSBA. Again, with the laws changing, with legislatures changing, whoever's on the negotiations team would probably be good to, participate in that, and they have a big booklet that they go through and talk about different things and strategies to use while negotiating, that type of thing. I know Brian and Tom, you guys are on negotiations this time around, and, now that we've got, our feet wet with that whole process, now when we go to this, whoever's on it, it's definitely worth going to, because there's a lot of information, and, makes a heck of a difference going into that process of what you can and can't do. Last major thing is I got a call today from the radio station, I'm assuming this is right, but I think it's 1260 AM on Hutchinson. They're doing a spotlight district. They'd heard of some of the things that we're doing, so we are their spotlight district. We did about a 5 to 7 minute, talk on the radio for, promoting Kimball and all the things that we're doing in Kimball, so it'll be on the radio January 26th, right around that 2:35 mark. He sent me a copy, of the actual audio. If you want me to email that to you, I can as well, so that way you don't have to try to turn the radio on at 2:30 on that particular day, that type of thing, but I'll forward that to you as well. I'll touch base with, Mrs. Bonnefield and see if she can put up, link those as well on our website and that type of thing, so people can hear the conversation. We talked about a track, what we're doing here at the school, why enrollment's going up. We talked about a youth apprenticeship program that we're looking at starting for next year. Just getting the word out about all the things that are happening and why people are coming to Kimball and that type of thing, so, that was a fun conversation to have with the guy out there. And then lastly, I'm sure most of you know, or if you haven't heard, I've been dealing with a family surgery in the family, and I've been preoccupied since November 30th. My dad's been in the hospital since November 30th minus 4 days, and he's had a couple of surgeries, and it's been a struggle for him physically, and it's been a struggle for me, trying to get up there, trying to be here, trying to farm, that type of thing. I was telling Sean that the comical thing we were trying to do to sell his cows. My dad has the wildest cows in this side of the Mississippi, and I'm not exaggerating, they were unbelievable to catch, and so he had 54 or 57 of them, and we sold 50 of them. We have probably 7 left, 3 are going down tomorrow via a gun with a butcher, and then we'll have 4 calves left, but they are the meanest, orneriest, vicious cows I've ever dealt with. And I've learned so much within trying to catch these things, and so between that stress of dealing with that, dealing with him in the hospital, fortunately I've had a sister that can stay with him every so often up in the hospital, but she's not there, then he's trying to call me, and when he's calling me, I don't know what's going on, I don't know, when he calls me, tells me that he's lonely, and so trying to balance all that kind of stuff. So I apologize, I haven't gotten my articles in the paper as often as I should be in the last 6 weeks, so please forgive me, Gene. But I will try to do better in trying to balance all that. So just so you're aware of that, I've talked to my administrative team, they know, they're aware of it and stuff, but like anything, you dealt with what you can handle, and you just deal with it and keep moving forward, so.
What it is, last surgery go that he had most recently?
They had a surgery on his, small intestine. The issue he's had is with his intestine. He developed an AFib heart, which is an irregular heartbeat. And so what happens is when your heart beats irregular, it pools in areas of your heart, creating blood clots. And so he passed a blood clot that blocked his small intestine. It became ischemic, the whole thing on the first surgery. And so he was in intensive care for 4 days. Basically, when they put him on blood thinner, the idea was that the blood thinner would loosen up the blood clot to get the intestine to kick back or start functioning. And when one of the weird things I learned is that your small intestine, if that's not working, you die. And so we had to wait to see if it's gonna start working. It started to work, but then parts of the small intestine developed deep ulcers, they called it. And so what they figure is what happened was that when the blood clot passed, it broke it into micro clots, so smaller clots, because you only have a couple main arteries that feed your small intestine. So then you get the little blood vessels that feed the rest of it, and so they figured it must have blocked there, and so they had to cut out approximately between 24 to 30 inches of his intestine that he doesn't have anymore, because that's where the ulcer was, and it was clogged, it was ischemic, not showing any signs of improvement. So their hope now is, now that the surgery's done, that he'll start functioning normally and he can recover faster or better. He'll always have to be on blood thinner, and then he'll also take B12, because apparently that part of the intestine that they took out is where it absorbs B12. So he'll have to get monthly shots of that if he makes a full recovery, that type of thing. So we're just hoping that he gets done with this, and hoping Kelly can get a full recovery, because between trying to get to Royalton and check the remaining cattle we have on the farm and this and that, and making that water when it's 20 below and all that kind of stuff, it's been fun. I'm not chasing cows anymore. That's all I have. Any questions for me?
Okay, thank you. Meet and confer?
Kinda talked about it, I guess we met, looked at the two alternative calendars, one, like they said, nobody starting a week early or starting a week late, and how does that affect the rest of the calendar as far as days off and conferences and those kind of things? I think we have two good options, and I think they're ready to go, and we'll choose from there. That's what was discussed.
Questions or comments for meet and confer? Okay. Benton Stearns at district meeting, we met today at 3 o'clock, relatively short meeting. Not a lot on the agenda, election of officers, some talk about Voyagers and long-term plans for facilities over there. We did renew a 6-month contract. Benton Stearns was on a shared contract with the maintenance supervisor with Ricori. He is retired from Ricori, and Benton Stearns has gone on and contracted with him for the front half of the 6 months of this year. And we will likely pursue a renewal of that contract in June, July, when that one expires again. 30 hours a month, $1,500 is the cost, so it's a pretty good deal. He's very familiar with the needs of both the Benton Stearns and the Voyagers facility needs. A rebate check, we should be getting about $2,300, I think is what I remember. I didn't bring my notes, but that's the number that pops out. A very small piece of the pie when compared to some of the other
But that means we did
districts.
not have participation.
So, true, so our numbers are very, very low, which is good. And that's really it for Benton Stearns. Anything else, questions? Okay, item 7.6 is, the fine update. Tim, is there any additional items?
So I sure appreciate the earlier conversation around Pine. I would just add that, we signed a card that they, in appreciation of their purchase of a new piece of playground equipment. And Carrie, help me understand, were they looking to buy additional iPads, a couple $1,000 worth? Hats off to
More
them.
than that.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to spend money,
Yeah.
sure, I can do that. They originally were gonna go towards Project Lead the Way, but because with the costs and the additional, it was just too much for Pi to continue. So they had that earmarked for that, so they had $7,800 for me to spend.
Nice.
And we agreed as a group that it should go towards building our iPads and for, especially grades 3 to 1 and K, because 4th grade has gotten it through integration money and 5th grade. So they are very happy to, donate that money to iPads for the kids. So Barb's in the process of finding good deals and all that good stuff, and so, cases, and like I said, they work so hard and they are so generous to our students and staff. Can't even thank them enough for what they do, so, yeah, more than a couple.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then just two quick other things too, how it is that they, you can, correct me if I was wrong, but on behalf of the board, I offered up a suggestion that maybe that group might wanna come, to the board, maybe on a quarterly or whatever frequency they might want to share, things they're working on, and so forth, so we'll see what they do, yeah. And then lastly, still stuck in my head, and I know that was brought up to the Health and Safety Committee, but there's some piece of cable stretched between wooden, posts near the playground over there that I heard a dad talking about potential, I don't know, health issue, hazard, kids playing on this cable. And it smells a lot like the cable that used to go around the high school over here, and I don't know.
It was
what-
taken down yesterday.
Yep, we've got
Yay.
it down already. Thanks, Mr.
Done.
Reagan.
Yeah, that's smart, yeah. That's it, thank you very much. That's cool. It was disconcerting, though. It
It
was,
was,
you
yes.
know, it was immediate, we should fix that, yeah.
And thank you for bringing that forward, cause Mr. Reagan came over and it's done, so.
Yay.
So can we get that feedback to that individual?
Yes, I'll
That
let
quick?
him know, yep, I
Perfect.
will let him know tomorrow.
So,
And one more project.
That's great.
No, we're working on that very differently.
What'd you cut it with?
I have no idea.
His cow.
his counter through it.
Cows that took care of it for us.
Well, that's great, thank you so much for that from Brian.
You can laugh at my cows, but they came close to killing me a couple times, dang things.
I got a funny visual.
So do I.
That reminds me, we had, right off, they left cows out there Dunnies did for a whole year, no one went out there, and trying to get those things back at the end of the year was, one had run over the canals, burst through the fence, was on the railroad tracks, and they had a canals shot it on the crack, yeah.
Yeah.
They get, there's no human contact, they get,
No, and these haven't had any human contact other than a skid loader for 10 years.
this is only for 3 months, so.
Yeah, so you can imagine that, years to that.
1,400-pound missile coming in.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, item 7.7 is the AI meeting update, Heather?
We met tonight, we talked about the grant that we received last year, and we're going again for this year, so we wanted to put a plan together, and it's basically trying to look for the achievement and integration, trying to reduce the reading for the free and reduced lunch population with, population trying to get to match. We talked about the different goals that were already out there and trying to meet that, we shared a lot of different good ideas about really what can we really do to try and help achieve that gap, and what are really the obstacles that we come against in that, and how can we overcome those obstacles, and whether that's even just people, some kids are just trying to find something to eat at night, and how do you get them to care about their reading test and going forward, how can you reach out to them, how can we get those families to interact with learning programs, technology, and all the different ideas that we can come up with. So we're right now just putting together a plan on which type of things we can get approximately $30,000 for the grant, what kind of programs do we want to incorporate, to try and close that reading gap, for the MCS. So, good? Good.
Any questions for Heather? Thank you. On to business, item 8.1 is adopting the 2017-18 school calendar.
So here we're gonna have a start date of August 28th. Our 4 days prior to Labor Day weekend, with having Friday and that Monday off, so the nice thing about having a calendar like that, it gives us 2 4-day weeks before they go full bore into 5-day weeks for the kids, so kind of a transition type thing. And then with our last day of school being May 23rd, and so kids would be done, on a Wednesday, and so for parents that, you know, obviously for the farmers and need their kids to help with the farming, it gives them some good opportunity for the help at home, and, the one thing that we have to obviously, that we do the same way as for the kids participating in 4-H, they obviously have excused absences or activity absences for, if they have to participate in the state fair, that type of thing, so they'd be excused absences, and they wouldn't be counted as an absence, it'd be counted as an activity, like we do for, like baseball or basketball or whatever, that type of thing, so. I think that the value that they get going down to the state fair is just as valuable as an activity and that type of thing, and I got a couple of kids that'll be involved with 4-H too as well, so I would understand how the process is and that type of thing, so. And then this calendar obviously gives us more flexibility if we have a bad, year for snow makeup and that type of thing, we can still get those days done, throughout the year and then also at the end of the school year if we need to.
Motion to approve the calendar for 2017?
Second. Motion by Heather, second by Carla. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.2 is review and approve board committee assignments.
So we're just throw Carl's name in there, right?
Nope.
Heather asked if I could kind of give you all an idea of how many times these committees meet and what kind of time commitment it is, so then I tried to put them in order and bunch them by minimal and kind of mediocre and then more, the ones with more time commitments. So that's what the brackets are on the side.
Thank you for doing that. I think the first time when I looked through this and we were trying to appoint it, I looked at this and I was extremely overwhelmed at all of the different things, not knowing
And it was
what the
really
time
not in
commitment
any
really
order.
was. And so,
They were just in a list.
and I noticed even on here sometimes that I was signed up for something, but yet I've never even heard of the meeting, and I didn't know if that was normal or not normal, and so it's nice to see if it's not active and not needed and that type of thing, so thank you for doing that.
So let's just start, at the top of the list for our student board. Current members are Heather Hooper and Tim Zipway. Are the two of you interested in remaining on active in
I
these
am.
positions?
I am, but when it says not active, I contend that it is active in the sense that to me, the embodiment of some of that, the intent of that group is to have these students here at our monthly board meetings. And so we've been hitting that a little bit, student rep kind of thing. So I don't know, there was a notion of maybe having a student, board seat in some way, you know, and I still haven't given up on that idea, but that's just what it is. Could be some of the work of that group, but.
And I think you would be best served on it because you have kids more of a high school age that would be more active in what that would be geared towards than myself, so if you want that one, I'll be sure to give it up to you. I can do that. Just cause it's not active, that's why I didn't want it.
So Carla and Tim.
Sure. We want to, as far as a student body representative, we want to entertain someone from student government. See if someone would be willing as a student kind of liaison.
And that's.
That's what we've been doing.
Is that-
I've been talking to my Trinity Erickson and Sarah Marquardt are two of our officers in student government, so that's who I talk to because I meet with them almost weekly.
I was thinking that your perspective, your statement was more broad, that they would actually, you know, sit with us through the meetings.
Some boards do that.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I was taking your suggestion there.
So that's just an
Maybe it's
idea that
something
we
we
could
can
talk
talk
about.
about and explore.
And from another aspect, that when this committee was started, a board member actually attended the student government meetings. So that there was a board member sitting in on their meetings to hear what their concerns are and being able to bring them back.
And when was that? When was that?
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday?
Let's change the time a bit.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, yeah. Wednesdays are our meeting days, we do during our advisory period, so almost, all of our organizations, not almost, meet on that Wednesday.
It could be a monthly thing too.
I was gonna say, would we have to attend?
There's no way I could.
No.
No, I don't
I
think so.
would, yeah.
Well, and that would be my only point on having a student representative here, I couldn't guarantee that we're gonna have one in every one of our board meetings, that would be the only caveat that I would throw out there. Not because they don't want to be, it's just, with schedules like tonight, I asked, and Trinity said she would do her very best to have somebody here, it just didn't work out tonight, so.
How long is their meeting?
30 minutes tops, it's a 35-minute period, so they've got a crunch to get it done, so.
There are other groups that we could hear from and, that could substitute for student government and so forth.
I would
So
still,
we have things to work on.
I would be interested, I mean, you meet for 30 minutes weekly, that's a lot of things to cover, but when they come, they say, things are going good. Can they bring what they talked about in those meetings, even if it's on a piece of paper and read off of them, cause I really like to know what's going on there. You know what I
It's
mean?
like when I ask my kids, how'd you get school?
I'm sure they talk forever, yeah, then they get yours like,
You know,
everything is good.
I certainly can, like I talked to Trinity yesterday, I said it'd sure be nice for them to hear, Snow Week, what was the planning process like, what do you talk about in terms of dress-up days, what does Friday look like for activities? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I do know that I have to give a weekly or a reminder when board meetings are coming up, cause it's not necessarily always on the calendar, but, by all means, and you're right, we have art club, we have.
All those kids use technology at their advantage to communicate,
They do.
Once a month, when they wanna do a Skype, I could squeeze in a 15-minute around my break to sit into a Skype or something along that, just, to participate in.
And that means.
So they would have that board presence available,
Yeah. FaceTime, yeah.
There's some options there to explore.
Yeah, and if you want me to, I'll talk to my advisors, because, we have NHS, art club, student government, Spanish club, we have a number of different, organizations that, students represent.
Good conversation.
Good conversation. Thank you. Legislative liaison, currently posted as non-active and vacant.
And typically with that, I've been sending you what I get from the C group, and I just forward that to all of you, so that way you can kind of see what's happening legislatively, because they always send out, anything that's on the platform of the legislature, that type of thing, and then I'll be going down on March 29th, is the Region 6, superintendents go down and meet with legislatures to talk about issues, that type of thing, so. You can have something on if you want, I know it's tough during the day, because you have jobs obviously have to be at, so, I have no issue with just reporting what I come across and forwarding to you their information, so all you have is so you're aware of what's going on. Big thing this year is trying to pass that 50% credit for farmers on farmland for school districts that have building bonds, so I did find out that trying to get it to be so that it affects all current bonds and future bonds, so even our farmers that are currently paying on the current bond that we have could get the benefit of that as well with the remaining payments that we have left, so.
Okay. Does anybody wanna sign up for that spot, or we wanna leave it vacant at this point?
Sounds like we need to get rid of it.
Possibly. Okay, we'll leave her open. Activities. There's an open spot as Mr. Stein has moved on. So Sean currently is on there and Tim is posted. Did we have 3 members or Tim, or are you posted as an alternate?
I think there were 3.
Was there 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm interested in staying on.
I would like to stay.
I'd be interested in doing it if, someone's interested in doing the, facilities. I'm just concerned I'm not gonna have time to do the facilities, if we're gonna do negotiations again. Coming up quick, I can't give. Facilities was a little more work than, I put it down there, farther down on the list, because we were meeting once a month.
You're meeting with that group, right?
Yes,
That's right.
but I haven't met since I started my new job, I haven't met with them in,
That group hasn't met.
we haven't met in 3-4 months since I started, but
So it's a lot of time when they're meeting.
but that's my fault that I haven't had time to do that, so. If someone's willing to step up to that,
So you basically organize the meeting with the community group that gets together to talk about what kind of improvements can we do facilities wise.
and how can we get them done, and what,
And get everybody to come to consensus.
Sounds like a good task for you.
You got a great alternate already.
Look at her here.
Nice.
I'm already on it, so, you know, I just can't.
Well, does anybody else
We're
want
still talking
activities?
about activities.
I prefer activities over facilities.
I mean, that's fine, I still need, I'm still gonna ask if someone wants to, head the facilities, and I'd still be on the help, but I just don't have the time to dedicate to,
I guess as a new member, is there a goal, is there a plan, is there something identified with facilities, or is it something you need, you know?
now, and we have a list of things that we saw issues here at the school,
Okay.
and we were trying to discuss how do we do those, how can we get those things done?
This committee became more active after the bond vote.
And that's what we had a lot of no voters and some yes voters, and we were trying to see what, these are the things we have issues with. We voted no on the bond levy, how can we get that done? Is there a different way we could structure so it was kind of that.
And it's been successful as a committee? I mean, it's a committee that's successful at accomplishing something, or is it just a lot of talk and ideas, but nobody implements anything?
It's a lot of time, but we don't,
It didn't get far enough down the road to
get to that point. So if no one else wants to do facilities, I'll stay on there and see, you just won't be doing as much stuff as there probably should be done on that, but. I mean, there's like stuff that, when I was doing it during the day and doing different things and checking things out, and I just don't have that kind of time to do that, so.
So if one of us took the activities, you'd still be willing to stay on the facilities though?
Yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, I think that's important. I mean, we have some big issues, I still think, in, the shop area, the weight room, the concession stand,
Science labs.
science labs.
And why I'm hesitant with it is, compared to you, I have kids in the elementary school, so that's where I live my life. I couldn't even find a science room right now if I had to, because I don't live in this world.
But it's not just this building,
Yep, I understand.
right?
Yep, I understand.
And we definitely are focusing on
The majority.
so far.
I
on
understand.
this
Right
building.
here.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that an issue won't come up that,
Well, if our continued enrollment goes up, we might have to deal with the issue with elementary with adding classrooms are, so.
Here too.
And we're,
That.
What a problem to have, right?
Right.
We should be happy.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's gonna be on the activities meeting?
well, I'll say opposite activities then, so whoever wants to.
Carly, you want activities, you said?
Yeah, I'm game for either, I'll be honest. I mean, Brian, you attend, we're on the sports boosters, you do a lot with activities as well, so it doesn't, I mean, I guess I just look at that committee as maybe it just needs to be looked at and as a group, maybe the school board needs to talk about facilities wise, what do we really want to see accomplished to give a group direction? I don't wanna just sit with a group of people that come up with 100 ideas.
Believe me, it's frustrating.
And,
It can
yeah, and I know myself, I mean, I am all about implementation, I mean, if it needs to get done, let's do it, let's find a way to do it, but if you just have a bunch of people that are going to sit there and say, well, I think we should do this, I mean.
I'm not gonna say that it doesn't pose challenges and very difficult, so. It might be something that a little too much for your first
And,
jump at the end, so.
okay, then I'll take activities, thank you.
Okay, communications committee,
I'll jump on that one, since I'm huge on communications issues that we have, and trying to find ways, if it needs to be.
there's one open slot, it looks like. And being that this is the second year that the Centennial,
You are welcome. to
marketing
that.
information has came back to the board as a good tool, but let's see, since things are progressing well, if there's something that we could do to have something, I mean, we know we have a good partner for getting some information, you know, like the big deal at the end of the year, that we can hopefully continue that relationship and partner with, that maybe they would be willing to help us get something established and go forward, or maybe we have a student that would wanna help take something on as an independent project, and as far as media and graphic design or something along those lines.
This school said that they just employed one person. They do not do Facebook, they do nothing with internet. This is their way that they communicate with, and it's just one person, and they cut their budget extremely by getting rid of their big catalog that they had, that they were sending out seasonally and just going to this newspaper, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I respectfully remind you that there is the option of the newspaper that is grossly underutilized right now?
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll take that back as part of the communications committee. Agreed, and I know we've talked about that several times, even school board members writing articles in the paper, and we just need to get back to, and just do that.
Call it. Perfect.
Okay, so under facilities, it's as needed, Brian, was Bob the alternate, or the second on that?
Bob is second, so
Okay.
you still need someone.
You interested in that?
I guess I would.
Okay,
What's it?
on the budget, approximately 4 times a year, maybe, currently it's Brian and myself. I would, I guess, like to stay on that if we're gonna stay on negotiations.
Yep.
Is there an alternate that would like to be part of any of this? Heather?
I can.
Okay. CA quarterly meeting 1 to 2 hours, Heather and Tim. Two of you wish to stay.
I don't get to meet him, if anybody else wants that.
I can stay with it.
I will say there's a nice time with that with AI.
I don't know if I've ever met for that. Tim, have you met for that?
Yep, I miss,
Monday
I
night,
think
6:30.
we're there, yeah, it's right around the corner.
That must not be on the email group. That's okay. I'm good.
Good,
Does
stay.
one person have to go, or 2 people have to go?
I think that's to the group that's there, they can alternate meetings, whatever the two of you can come to.
Can you just discuss what type of classes you wanna offer for the next school year?
We talk about world's best workforce, we talk about the community survey, we talk about courses that are coming up, we talk about programming at both buildings. I'll make sure your name gets added to the email
Don't
list.
say that sounds like you're up for Garland. I'm counting up my names here on this list, and I'm starting to get a little scared.
So who's
Weary.
Tim?
August, November, February, May, quarterly as schedule allows.
The August, November, February, and May is community and she tries to schedule it in around the middle of the month. The ECFE meets roughly quarterly as schedules allow. And it's a very informal meeting, but the same person is on both, covers both of them.
You could do that one too, the guy on top of that one too. It's really informal, it's really just going and discussing good ideas to do. It's a, you don't have to lead a group, you don't have to lead, so it's just.
I can do that.
Heather's off, Carla's on.
Sure.
Brian, you wanna remain as an alternate?
Yeah, I don't know, that's fine, I haven't done anything being alternate, so.
Okay. Family Service Collaborative meets quarterly, Brian Becker.
Yeah, when's our next one? You got an email lately?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's coming up here,
I mean, that one's pretty easy, that's fine, it's only like once a quarter and,
next month,
you have a date?
February 23rd, let me double check. I'm sorry, it's March 14th.
That's the same day, the negotiation conference in St. Cloud?
Yep.
Okay, Health and Safety Committee. Looks like 4 times a year, Heather.
It was very interesting.
That's all I'm looking at.
That's one way to put it.
Sure is, I learned a lot.
Meet and confer 4 times a year for about an hour each meeting. Sean?
I'm fine staying there.
Okay. District Bills Auditor, monthly meetings. It's the treasurer. So that's,
Is Heather, the treasurer is Heather. And that can be done if you come 10-15 minutes early for the meeting, is fine.
Benton Stearns that district. And this is the primary no alternates. Anybody wanna take Benton Stearns? Taylor?
That's the same question you're here. I know.
It comes with the added bonus of the position of vice chair this year, so. Okay, I'll stay.
Yeah.
You're so lucky.
Negotiations. Tom and Brian and Sean as an alternate. And it'll be a busy year again this year. So. And then, did you wanna stay as the alternate?
Fine.
Okay. Transportation, and that's, Sean and myself, 2 to 3 times a year. I'm okay with staying on that one as well. Okay. All right, with those assignments, do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Sean, and second by Tim, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.3 is approval of the seniority list for the 2015-16. 16-17, right? Thank you.
These are the staff remaining on completion.
he's doing?
Yes.
So Joan usually has a copy of this available at her desk if anybody has questions regarding seniority for staff members. So readily available when needed. So any questions regarding seniority?
Motion to approve seniority list.
Motion by Tim and a second by Heather. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4 is review and approve pay equity reporting for the calendar year 2016.
This reporting gets done every 5 years, and so this is the year that we completed. The state compares male classes with female classes, and if there's any imbalance in, male classes or males being paid more, if there are females in their class, and we don't have any of that here. Originally, when that first came through in the late 80s, the custodial did have to take a freeze because they were being paid more than female classes in the same category. That's been resolved. I don't see any issues with this, as we said it. And so tomorrow, with the approval, I'll go in tomorrow and submit it and I'll accept it.
So this is all staff, or this is?
All staff.
This is teachers, everybody?
This is teachers and everyone, provided they work more than, I think it was 10 hours a week. So there might be some Cubs Club people who aren't even here.
Using the motion
Do you
to
have a
accept.
question on something, Sean?
I'm a little, male and female, so we're just talking,
Well, the superintendent's position is a male class because there's no female in there. The custodial department is considered a male class because there's more male than female. And so, if they're both in the same class and the males are being paid at a higher rate than the females, there's a problem.
but our contracts would all,
Our contracts
no
don't
one
allow
avoid that
it.
anyways, yeah, okay.
I make a motion to accept.
Thank you. Motion by Brian, second by Carla. Any additional questions or comments? None, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.5 is review and approve the revised fiscal year 17 budget.
So I sent this out the other day, and then when Heather had some questions, I realized I never changed the date at the top. I never changed the heading at the top.
So it said we still had the preliminary in last year's approval. It's this year's adopted compared to this year's revised. And when you get to the very end, this third column shows the difference in how it's improving, and you've gotta, or changing, and you've gotta realize that last May and June, when we put this together, we didn't know we were gonna have an additional, 20 students this year. So this has all of the students counted, and it's increased the revenues. So that's why you see some changes. On the district-wide, the reason in the expenditures, the reason this technicians increased so much, it's also decreased on the, no, it's going to go there, yeah, it's decreased on the, high school and elementary side by about the same amount, because the state's requiring us to quote them differently now than what we used to. And that too came out after, the approved budget for last year. So when you get to the very end, it puts us at a positive general fund balance of $12,332, not a fund balance. A balance in the general fund for this budget
For this
year.
year.
Is
That's my
positive.
first one.
That's total all funds. And when Fund 6 is in there looking the way it does, that throws it way up, because we received all of the revenue for those expenditures last year. We don't have any revenue coming into Fund 6 this year. And before the end of the school year, there will be a second revision to this coming back.
Any kind of comment around this in relation to SOD would be good.
Well, we improved on our SOD last year, and if we can keep this 12,000, that's gonna improve on it a little bit more.
We're no longer in this.
When we're not in SOD.
I know, but I'm just.
We
saying,
improved on our,
keep
we
steering
got
away
out of
from
SOD
that.
and we improved on our deficit.
Yeah, okay,
Last
thank you.
And this would just
Sorry
help
to phrase that
improve on that
inappropriately.
some more.
So I'll make sure everybody knows and watch that video, we are not in SOD.
How far do we have until we break even? I mean, obviously, we're still in the loss, even though we're not in SOD.
Trying to,
Thousands, hundreds, tens?
I don't know, I wanna say we were with the 100 to 180,000.
I wanna say 125,000 for some reason.
And we gained 12,000 here this quarter.
Yeah, it just depends how we finish the year out, but, you know, it's possible we might actually be positive by the end of the year, but it all, you know,
You never know what the roof's gonna go.
right.
It's different fund.
Different fund,
That's true.
ain't gonna go on this end, that's for sure.
Better not.
You know, if budgets don't get expended to zero, that all helps. That's an if.
Although we watch pretty closely on our end of things, and
Try to
we have,
bring
I would
it
say we haven't, in my years here, not that we ever have spent frivolously, I mean, by this time of year, if it's not already ordered, there needs to be a really good reason why you can go get it.
Give them a small window in January to order what they need for second semester, and the exception would be biology, might have some specimens that they can't get ahead of time. That will let them order. Custodial and technicians are spending year round, but, basically classrooms are done here in the next couple of weeks for the second semester.
The word no is sometimes uttered more often than yes.
I do. Okay, motion by Heather, do I have a second? Motion by, or second by Brian, any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.6 is adopt a resolution directing the administration to make recommendations for reductions in programs and positions and reasons therefore.
Like I said before, we have no intention to, it's just, if we get in the spot where we have to, we've done our due diligence, nothing, so.
This will be roll call.
Yes. Any question?
I was just gonna make a motion, but it's a roll call, you said?
It is a
Make a
roll.
motion,
I'll make the motion.
and we need a second.
Second.
So a motion by Tim and a second by Sean, any further discussion? If none, Tim, would you wanna start the roll call?
Aye.
please?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.7 is the approval of secondary registration course guide for 2017-18 school year.
Alright, so I'm gonna pass this around, it's a formality we come to every year. The only piece that's not in the guide at this point right now, is our youth apprenticeship program that we're looking at starting for next year. It's headed in a positive direction. Mr. Bond and myself met with, Steve Mouse last night, talking about bringing in an automotive program. The guide, it's called, I can't remember what we call it, it's not called automotive, it's called something tech, but, it's along the lines of kids who spend a semester here, working on a car that Mouse would provide. gaining knowledge, not only by working on that, but working on their own automobiles as well, doing oil changes, and whatnot. And then that second half, they would be able to go on and work maybe the second half of the day. And apprenticeship mode where Steve and Carrie and Ed would provide the space and some pay for it, and then as part of this youth apprenticeship grant, they would fund the other side of that aid position. So they'd be getting on-the-job experience, knowledge and know-how, and also receive high school credit for that. So something Mr. Wagner has been, I know Tim's been a part of that too, the conversation, moving that forward. It's definitely something that other schools in the area use, and something that we're looking right into starting here as well. Other than that, there are some new courses. Nancy Bonnefield is changing a course that was called Computer Applications 2 to something called IT Exploration. In part of IT Exploration, they will be looking at doing some coding, looking at software development, those types of things. That would be offered for some articulated college credit through St. Cloud Community Technical College. Other than that, there's just some changes in verbiage and maybe some other descriptions that change to better describe what the content actually will be in terms of what they're going to do. So again, it's more of a formality, but I do bring it every winter to you to give you some dates. We're going in, and when I say we are going in, Mr. Klein and myself are going to classrooms on February 7th to talk to our incoming 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders for 17-18. We'll bring the guide in, show it to them. We'll go through the 4-year planning guide with them, show them their transcripts, help them kind of decipher what that looks like, and so that they can look at what their needs are going to be in the incoming school year. And then February 22nd, we'll take those individual classes in the computer lab where they'll actually go on and register for courses for next year. Once that's done, we'll tally those up, and that'll kind of give us a roadmap for how our master schedule is going to look at, or what it's going to look like next year, and then help us with our staffing from that point moving forward. So we can't do a whole lot on the high school planning side of things in terms of courses and content until we have an accurate idea of what our student body is asking to take for courses. So busy time. It's going to be crunch time moving forward after we get that done. So questions on that?
Do we have less, more, or same amount of, I'm just gonna blanket statement, college credit type classes at Kimball High School?
For next year, it'll be roughly it'll be one more. The articulated college credit that's offered in the IT Exploration will actually raise where we're at. Now, that being said, IT Exploration though is geared, our traditional college courses like our college biology, anything in our college social studies, college math, are typically for that 4-year college kid. That's what they're looking towards. I've always been that way. The IT Exploration is geared at that 4-year college kid, that 2-year college kid, that kid that maybe is not sure yet what they want to do, whether they want to enter the world of work or actually move on and make that a career. So we're trying to add more of those pieces to the plate so that we can facilitate meeting our needs, I guess is the way to look at it. I know it came up as part of our AI conversation, our AI meeting. We do a really good job of, I think, catering to that top load or top echelon, those kids that want to go do that, and we're trying to make sure that we meet this group here as well. And then Tim, you know as well as I do with your manufacturing connections that there is a need out there in those areas. So, so that's why the youth apprenticeship will also be a part of that.
That's what
So right now it'll be in the automotive side of things. I also think it's going to be in the welding side of things. Mr. Bob has some experience in the welding side of things in that area. And we have a very big investment in our welding area for the last couple of years, and it's a pretty popular class of our kids. We have a number of students that graduated from Kimball who are out actively working in those careers right now. So try to take what we have and continue to make it better. So we are adding some more courses this year that we haven't had the opportunity to do in a while, just to the fact that we have some more staff in place than we've had. But again, the kids will be the deciding factor, driving factor in terms of what we're going to offer.
Project Lead the Way is all in the elementary school.
We have one course here. We do have Introduction to Engineering Design.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. We are also, just so you know, we're also, going to offer, when I say going to, because I believe we are, we're gonna offer a seventh grade, industrial tech experience, for our seventh graders. If we're able to incorporate some gateway of technology, Project Lead the Way stuff into that, because we do have those materials, I think we're gonna try to do that. That was a fairly strong program that we had, when it was in place. So it's something we're gonna do as well. We're gonna try to get, we have started a couple years ago with our Ag experience, trying to get more kids into that area at a younger age. We'll continue to do that and try to offer that experience so kids in seventh graders can go, yeah, well, I can see when I'm ninth grade, I want to do this. I want to get in this area and work on it and stuff.
Sounds really exciting to me.
Yeah, it is. You know, it's fun when you're looking and when you talk about, you know, not having to make reductions and you can look forward and look at your staff and go, these people are more likely to be in place and we can move forward and do some new things, so.
Would you say the challenge at the high school level is because we're, at the level with the amount of teachers that we have, we're missing in that middle range bucket the most. So if you're looking at a child who's not gonna go to, he already knows, gee, not gonna go to four-year education, not gonna go to tech school, I'm gonna choose to go out in the world and work. We've got all these other classes and stuff to do in English 12, I was looking at that, and I was telling you, if I was a person who was going to college, the material that's there is not gonna help me in my working world. Do we have enough classes to meet the needs for those students that prepare them for life skills, whatever you wanna call that they have options to do so they're not sitting in study hall because there's no other classes that they can teach? You know what I mean?
I do.
And do we not have those, or maybe we do, and I don't know, do we not have those because we don't have enough teacher time to be able to teach those classes?
That is one of our challenges.
Because of the budget that we're in,
Mm-hmm.
you can't hire unless you have.
Yeah. In our required courses and our English, math, science, and social, you know, I think we have adequate staff for that. When we have to, obviously, because of state requirements. On the elective side of things, it gets tricky at times, due to lack of personnel. And with the state licensure requirements that they have, it's difficult because you get into specialty areas like the industrial tech, where a vocational license allows you to do more things than just have an industrial tech license. Where sometimes you have to try to get creative. And sometimes, no matter how creative you get, you still don't have the bodies to be able to teach the courses that maybe kids are interested in. You know, I think in the last 3 years, I think we've come a long ways towards alleviating some of that. You know, we certainly listen to the kids in terms of what they want, and we try to support that and try to do that. Are we able to meet them all the time? No. And it's very difficult when students get into the upper grades, especially senior, when only 2 courses are required. When a half a year of econ and a full year of English. You know, we have a significant number of kids since we have 23.5 credits to graduate, it's required, that are already at 23.5 credits by the time they get midway through the senior year. So you're left trying to schedule for them, program for them, and even when you send the sheets home to have parents sign off on it, we still get a lot of questions, why they have multiple, why are they doing a TA, why are they doing peer tutor, why are they doing a study hall? In some cases, it's because that's what they signed up for, even though we'll counsel them in those pre-registration meetings, even as we're sitting down with them at the computers and registration to say, you know, challenge yourself, this is a great time to try something different, something new. At the end of the day, it's really up to the student, up to the moms and dads to determine how that looks. And for your college kids that are trying to get that, absolutely, they try to take everything they can. It's for your students that aren't real sure yet, that I can see that it sometimes is a struggle for them. And not that we're trying to create barriers to that.
Just bring me back to our English,
Our AI conversation, yep. And I think in this year's guide, I think we're doing a better job of doing that because we have more personnel options to be able to do that. And then as our student enrollment grows, hopefully continues to grow. They're able to bring in more people in those areas and expand. You know, we're one of the few schools our size that still has a fax department for family consumer science. One of the few schools that still has an operating industrial tech department. I mean, you just go down there with Annandale and they don't have it any longer, they send their kids to Buffalo and Ray Tech, so. To say that we're a school our size and still have 11 departments that operate on a regular basis and offer what we offer, I think says a lot about our community and what they support, what they want to do. But then again, we're also, as a staff, trying to change things up in terms of what we're doing, especially on the elective side. I think when you get to the requires, they're gonna be pretty much what they are, gonna be standards-based and they're pretty much regimented in what they need to do. And not that the elective sites don't have standards, but we've got to tweak and try to make sure we're meeting, you know, the needs that are out there. And again, it's driven by what the kids tell us they want to take. That registration on the 22nd, when we tally that and look at that, that'll tell us a lot what they're looking for. So.
What were we talking about?
I have one question regarding AP, because I didn't look at the schedule that close. How many AP courses could an individual have on their schedule for a semester?
Currently right now,
Yeah,
one is a sophomore, one is a junior or senior.
okay, so it's just, it is one,
Yeah, we have AP US History, we have AP Chemistry, our two current AP classes. So in AP right now, AP US History is sophomores. I mean, I suppose if a junior or senior wanted to jump in there, they could certainly register for it. And AP Chem right now is juniors, there are a couple seniors in there. They're taking it as well, so.
any other questions regarding secondary registration postcard? If none, do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Brian and a second by Heather. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.8 is accepting accept $1,000 donation received from NetRep towards the scholarship fund.
So moved, and I thank him for his donation.
Second.
Motion by Sean, second by Tim. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.9 is accept a $50 donation received from Mom's Place towards the scholarship fund. Do I have a motion?
Make motion.
Motion by Carla, second by Heather. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.10 is accept a $50 donation received from John and Chris Bonet towards the scholarship fund.
Second.
Motion by Heather, second by Carla. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Tom, can I throw one thing in? I neglected back in celebrations. Anna Dunny is our regional representative for AAA Award.
Awesome.
She was selected last week. I forgot to say that, and I can't believe I missed that. So she'll be going to the region here February 3rd, trying to advance to the next level. So congratulations to her.
Awesome. Thank you. Agenda item 9.1 is approved termination of Kevin Zhang, part-time high school custodian, effective immediately.
Motion to approve termination of Kevin Zhang as noted on the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Tim, second by Sean. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.2 is approving the hiring of approve the hiring of Brian Keepley, part-time high school custodian, effective immediately.
Make motion.
Second. Motion by Carla, second by Brian. Any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Announcements and future meeting dates. date for next work session on work policies and goal setting.
Now we've got Carla on board, we can get started again with the policies and get through all those. We're just about done, we'll get through all of them, so we're getting close, so I know it's a highlight of the board experience going through policies, but we do need to go through that, and then the discussion that Carla, Heather, and I had down at the MSBA conference, and come up with goals as a group to attain individually, and some things we wanna look at doing as far as getting more involved with the board, with staff and with each of both buildings to be more informed of what's going on and that type of thing, so. What we need to do is figure out a date that works. Typically, we've been trying to do them right before the board meeting, but because we had Benton Stearns meetings changed to right before the board meetings, we won't be able to do that anymore, and so, looking for, dates that we could do to meet prior to the board meeting, so if we get through a number of policies, we can approve those at the next board meeting. I know Valentine's Day is a great day.
What's that?
I said Valentine's Day is a great day to meet for something good. Just kidding, of course. So we could look at the week of February sixth to the tenth. Any particular evening or late afternoon that works, I would assume that everybody would prefer something after 4. If that's fair to say.
Probably a Wednesday to avoid, sports activities.
Okay, so February 8th.
It's my anniversary, it's very nice, right?
Oh, we got one new.
You can bring your honey.
We have conferences for my youth that night as well.
What is conference meeting?
February 8th conference night for elementary, okay. We can avoid that. How about, February 1st then, let's go the Wednesday before that.
Church education, that's okay. Up to the first.
First, that work for everybody?
4 o'clock?
Everybody okay with 4 o'clock?
I probably won't be able to do
4:30 or 5?
I could be there at 5.
5?
5 would be a lot better.
Okay. So February 1st, 5 o'clock, shoot for 5 to 7, no later than 7. I'll bring the refreshments and beverages. I'm assuming you don't want those cinnamon rolls that I brought the last time.
We're good.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
That's very good.
That's calories for the week.
I'd have to throw chin to it.
Alright, February 1st, 7 work session, policies and goals. Alright,
Can you, send out a list of policies, in advance, so we
Yep.
can maybe all get a review of them?
You think it's gonna happen?
I try, I know I'm not always successful, but I try to.
we can do that.
Ben Stearns meeting next, meeting scheduled for 2:15, and our next regular board meeting is scheduled for February 15th as well.
I need signatures from the chair, the clerk, and the treasurer before you leave, and Brian, Sean, and Tim, if I could get your sheet before you leave. We're gonna start doing these at every meeting for the previous one. Should have them all laid out, you can fill in anything extra.
Okay, my bad.
The organization.
And Tim, up at the top, she's added a checkbox, if you're interested.
Do you have a checkbox in mind? What did you say?
It says if you wanna donate a check here,
Oh, I just wrote on.
that works too.
Okay, in closing, I'd just like to officially welcome Carla
Thanks.
as a new member to the board.
We probably won't have as much pomp and circumstance as Friday's inaugural, but.
Oh, that's okay.
No, we won't. And, not as much angst to go with it. So, anyway, so congratulations and welcome, and thank you for carving out time to attend the ISD conference. And bring back some valuable information to share. Thank you. With that, any other closing remarks?
I should probably let you know that I'll be talking with both our administrators and talk with the bus company due to that accident we had. we're not gonna be able to continue to allow parents to have multiple drop-offs. Like every so often, they wanna have a student switch from one bus to the next bus for a drop-off or party, whatever. Simply because if there's an accident, it's not possible to keep changing who's on the bus and the list of contact names on that bus in case there would be an accident. If a kid switches the bus and the bus driver doesn't know that child and something were to happen, we just cannot put ourselves in a spot where we can't contact the parents and we don't have the contact information and those types of things. A lot of parents are doing it like at 2 o'clock or 2:30 right before the kids go home, and it's just, there's no way the bus company can make a whole new list for who's on that bus at that particular time in case there was an accident, that type of thing. So it's a matter of safety, liability. We can no longer do that kind of stuff because there's just no way we can physically get it done.
You can have some irate parents.
What's that?
You can have some irate parents.
They'll be upset because that's what they've done in the past, but in light of that accident, it's not fair to that bus driver.
Oh, I know, I'm not
If
saying.
you know, to try to drop somebody off at a friend's place, and some parents are requesting a specific drop-off, that's not part of a drop-off, it's not even a spot to drop a child off.
Oh, really?
Right, we can't be making those requests, we just, the bus company's been doing it in years past, so it kind of created a monster to a point. But in light of looking at that accident, and if there's a child on that bus that the bus driver doesn't know, the bus driver might know that they're on that bus, but doesn't know the family, doesn't have the contact information, cause they carry their own list of who's supposed to be on that bus. It's just, it's a disaster waiting to happen, and I just don't wanna put them in that kind of spot and that type of thing, so. If you start getting some calls from, it's probably not gonna be a majority, but you're gonna probably get some calls from a few people that are upset about that, but we just can't, for the safety of the kids on the bus and being able to contact them, it's just not feasibly possible to keep making new lists of who's on the bus at that particular time.
I thought we already started that at the beginning of the year.
We did, but they still are getting some requests and
So it's not so much, it's a new thing, it's that we're just not holding the ones accountable for doing it from the beginning.
well, and
So we're not supposed to be doing it anyway.
we're not supposed to do it anyway. But
So
there's,
it's nothing new. At the
It's nothing
beginning of the year,
new.
we aren't supposed to be doing it.
but the bus company has done it for a few people, and now because it's kind of snowballed, and now
I'll just.
they want me to be the bad guy, so.
Why don't they just say no? Sorry.
Well, and ultimately, is that our job to communicate that? If the bus company is
There
going
you
to
go.
keep doing it for certain families because grandma's not home for a pickup, I mean, it has to be if we're gonna implement it, then the bus needs to
Right.
stand by it.
Well, absolutely, we have the parents that signed off on it, so it's not something new, it's just that
Right.
they just need to be sticking to it, not making those accommodations, so.
One of the things we talked about the meeting before the meeting, we talked about our negative school lunch fund, the $523 that we've got in there, and Kathy? Anyway, we had a discussion about whether we should, and we've talked about it before as a board as well, require everyone to fill out a free and reduced lunch population form at the beginning of the school year, and whether they qualify or not, it's done, and we can identify those who are in need of programs and whatever, right off the bat, and there's no chasing after people to get lunch money when they don't have, obviously, lunch money to pay for lunch money. Is it something as a board we can decide to require, and if we do, how do we reach those to get them to fill out the form? Cause there are some issues with parents not knowing what their income are, and not filling out the form, or not understanding the form, whatever it happens to be. How do we make that happen if we are choosing to do that?
$1 million question.
Do we all agree it's probably a good idea to have everyone fill it out regardless?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we could do that, it's like anything, it's gonna take a while to get everybody on board to do it. Ideally, if it's coming from the board, we set it up as a board policy. Part of policy per board that all families that attend school or their children attend school in the district, they
It's
fill out.
part of the generic packet of information that goes with each student.
It
and
can
after
go,
the
it
test.
doesn't
It
have to.
does, but it's not a requested form to come back, so you'd have to make it a requested form by the teachers. I mean,
Yeah.
when they keep their check sheet, and if they don't get something back, then.
And do you have a computers available the night that everybody comes for registration and show up and say, on your next, or when they walk into the class and they meet their teacher, go over to the computer to fill out this?
And actually, it's just a paper form.
It's just a paper form.
Perfect, here's the
Um,
paper form, let me know if you have any questions or
How long does it take to fill out? 2
2
minutes, 3
minutes,
minutes,
90
5 minutes? It's super simple, there is a,
But like Kathy was pointing out, some of the parents are not able to understand or read the form well enough to be able to complete it independently.
And those are usually the ones that we
so it sounds like it's important enough that we just need to staff someone there for Q and A.
Would our
To
food
assist
company,
and-
would our food company be willing to come?
Well,
And
they're
then
there, they're always there because they're collecting the lunch
Taking
money.
lunch money.
But it is.
Right, but those are local
But
people.
they are not supposed to even see these completed forms. Occasionally, they get them and they pass them down to us. But yeah, we should staff somebody in a, I would say in a somewhat private area where families can go and fill out the form and have assistance if they want and get it taken care of.
We can set a spot for an open house day.
Okay.
You wanna help out with that?
That's
I
what
think
it
you'd
takes.
probably even get PI members to help out with that. I think our PI group would really.
It's a data privacy
I was
issue.
gonna say, that's what I think you're gonna have problems with, isn't it?
You can't just have anybody doing it, there's limited people.
Well, we can talk, administrative team can talk, I think though, we'll have to probably, that might have to be a policy, so that way all families know that it's required by the district for everybody to fill out regardless of income, so that way we have that taken care of, that way it's kind of from everybody, because that way, you don't want the families that historically haven't filled it out because of the pride part of it, if they know that everybody's filling it out, everybody has to turn it in, then it becomes a moot point at that point.
I wondered too, if we don't do some education on the front end of it too, cause I don't think a lot of folks know exactly what it is.
Right.
I think there's probably a fear factor, and there will be if we require them to do it. Just explain what it is.
And I don't think they realize that a lot of our funding is based on the number of students.
And the confidentiality piece, they probably don't understand what it is.
These don't just float
The
around.
the teachers
It
are
could be 9 men for-
educating based off of whether they're that or that.
What's that?
It's,
We drop a class and,
Which would be,
what's that?
which would be,
Oh, if you had more.
well, you have to have, over, was it 60%?
Well, that's what Minneapolis North is in our
We
code.
got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
What's that?
We got a long ways to go.
So I think this reporting number is down from a couple months ago when this first came out.
She has been routinely on Wednesdays sending out the email to any negative accounts. And so, there was one family who ended the year last year with a negative account. This year they qualified for free and reduced. Today, we received a check to cover last year's funds.
So as of today, we're negative 523.33 overall, negative 65.80 of that is due to inactive students, that there is no chance of recovery. So, no longer in the district. Okay, any other items, or do I have a motion to adjourn? Second. Motion by Heather, second by Brian, any further discussion? If none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, meeting adjourned.
Is that okay?
That's if you want to participate, then you just. You should have